Hey guys, welcome to Into the Mystic, a podcast where we dive into the mystical wonders of the world. My name is Elena.
And my name is Kevin, and we will be discussing each other's mental health.
Yeah, our podcast will definitely have a theme of that going forward. We'll ask how everyone's week is. We'll have a few guests here and there, but it'll mostly be the two of us as your co hosts. We're very excited to continue our podcast, and we have a lot of future things that we're very thrilled to inform you guys about.
Yeah.
So, to start off our first episode, Kevin, how's your week been?
It's been packed. It's been very, very stressful, but I've made the most of it. Deadlines have been very unkind to me, but, we manage. I did get back from New Orleans recently, and that was an experience. I've never been to New Orleans in my life, and I visited Tulane, which is a wonderful university.
Yeah, how was that trip? Is that the only thing you did on your trip, or did you see other things?
We did go to the French Quarters, and we stayed in the Garden District. We went to the French Quarters, and the French Quarters is like the clash of culture of New Orleans. You got Creole impact, you have Italian impact, you have French, Haitian. You got it's a very, very kind melting pot of culture, and you could taste that in the food. How
Nice.
about your week?
My week's been good. We just finished the first quarter and we had a long weekend, except it wasn't really that long for me, not at least in the good way. On Saturday, I had a confirmation, and that was definitely a lot with the whole party and everything. Hispanic parties never end, so they did last a very, very long time, and it took food forever to come out. Then on Sunday, I was working and I had a few parties, so that was definitely a lot. It was very tiring. Sunday night, I got no sleep thanks to my lovely dogs, because the next day I had to wake up to go to Oneonta. For those who don't know, Oneonta is about 3 hours away, so it was a long trip. I had to be in Tarrytown at 6 in the morning, so in the time that it took me to get ready and everything, I was up at around 4. So that was definitely a super, super long day. So the weekend was definitely a lot, but this week, in terms of actual school being back, it's pretty mellow just so far. The quarter's still beginning, so there's not too many assignments yet, but I know there'll definitely be a lot more to come.
Yeah. What did you think about Oneonta?
I absolutely hated it.
Really?
No offense to anyone who really likes that school, but there was nothing there for me that I really liked. The campus was absolutely humongous. The class sizes were still relatively small, but the campus was just huge, and I am disabled, so I do not like large campuses like that. It's a lot on my feet, so it was definitely something that was a big no. And especially in Oneonta, there's so much snow, it's freezing. And I was like, oh, maybe they'll have tunnels or something. The buildings might be connected.
There was snow up there?
There wasn't snow yet. The day
Okay.
after I left, there was snow. But I asked, and they were like, no, we don't have any tunnels. No, nothing like that. Just we suggest a really good winter coat. I was like, the winter coat doesn't help me from slipping and sliding outside.
Yeah.
But okay, you do you. So that school was definitely a no for me.
I'm sorry to hear that, but
It's okay. I think I found the school that is pretty appropriate for me, that I'm super interested in.
that's good.
So I've been starting to apply for scholarships this week. I actually did my first draft of my college essay this week, so I'm starting to dig deep into that. How about you? I know you're a year older than me, so you've already passed all that.
Yeah, well, I wish I could say that I was done, but sadly I'm not. I did just decide to restart my entire essay, and I have a few topics that I haven't decided on which one I was gonna pick for the essay that I'm gonna submit, but I did.
Mm-hmm.
It's a few artistic things. It's I did color theory. I went back to that. That was one of my early topics that I
Right.
decided to write on. Then I went to the idea of despair and finding the light in the tunnel is what I wrote at the end. Then there was art as a whole and its impact in my life, like art through visual art and performing arts. I think that as a whole, they've all been pretty impactful.
Yeah, there's so many different arts that are all so impactful. Like there's music, there's visual arts, there's performing arts, there's so many different worlds, and I love all of them.
Yeah, it's a very rough and slippery slope similar to Oneonta's campus in the winter. But I will say that in the midst of all of this, I haven't really been able to take the time for myself to kind of take it all in and just really appreciate it, because it's
Yeah.
just been everything. Because school does not stop for the college process. That's one thing that kind of bit me in the butt. I
Yeah.
was holding my own in school. I'm doing good. I had the highest GPA that I've ever had.
Congrats.
Thank you. Um, that being said, I did have a few missing assignments here and there, and I would have liked to not have that.
Yeah, to have a little bit more time that you can figure out both college and the school you're in currently right now.
Yeah, I will say you're starting at a very good time just to get a grasp, because it does come very fast. Like with FAFSA, I just finished my FSA ID, which is that's how you get financial aid, federal financial aid. And then there's also, for certain schools, they require what's called the CSS profile. The CSS profile is another form of financial aid provided through College Board, and it's basically the same as FAFSA, but you can do it earlier in the midst of all the applying, all the SAT taking the last minute,
Yeah.
in the midst of college essay writing, and even outreaching. Like for my schools that I did, almost each of them had supplements that you needed to write, which supplements can range from just little pieces of information about yourself to full-on essays of why you chose that school.
Yeah, everything definitely snowballs with applications and everything. There's a lot more that a lot of people don't talk about, and I feel like the school, they do provide resources, of course, but it definitely, they don't make a lot of awareness on how hard it is or how early you should definitely be starting.
Yeah.
To underclassmen, I definitely recommend starting to look at those things a lot earlier than you'd expect.
Yeah.
Senior year, it will definitely snowball, like Kevin's saying. A lot will happen to you all at once. So we do recommend starting to look at it. I know it can definitely be overwhelming and it seems like it's so far away, but time goes super, super quickly. And even just the small things like starting to research what you possibly like to do for your career, what hobbies you have, where you like to be. Do you like it in the cold? Do you like it in, Florida, like different areas? So we definitely have very contrasting ideas of what we'd like for school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I have my fair share of cold weather schools that I'm applying to. It's only 2, but that's I'm actually going to look at UVM. I have my cousin that lives there, one of them, and he is, when I enter, he'd be entering his senior year, and he's in an off-campus apartment right now. But everything I've heard about that school, if someone didn't go there, they wish they went there if they toured it, because they say that Burlington is a beautiful, beautiful city to live in, even with its homelessness crisis that's currently happening. But yeah, I hear great things about Burlington and the school as a whole, and it very well fits my major and everything. So
So if you were to pick a school, let's say you're creating an imaginary school that's absolutely perfect for you. So there wasn't anything that you didn't like about it. So don't think about a specific school that exists.
Yeah.
Think in your head, what if you could have the perfect option? What types of things would you be looking for personally?
So, good question. I think that I very much like having all 4 seasons. That's just so in an area where you get to experience summer, a good long winter. I like a nice amount of snow on the ground. I think that just brings like a childhood joy, kind of. And
during the holidays too and everything, it's very heartwarming.
It's very, very nice to have those. Honestly, like now everybody's a little upset about the early sunsets, but come December, that's like a core memory almost for me. I don't know if that's everybody, but
That's definitely not me.
yeah. It's so I'd say that the seasons would be a big factor. Secondly, I think that an R1 research institution would be very nice. R1 is I believe, top 5% of universities in the country, and it just means that they have a lot of money for research, and yeah, they just are like given this honor to be considered R1.
Yeah, that definitely seems like a good thing, especially for what you're looking into. What are you looking into in terms of majors and studies?
So I've been long deciding that, and it came down to a factor of someone that I met, um, that I've known for quite some time. He developed schizophrenia, and I decided that why not go into that, because that held, like, when I found out that he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, that kind of hit very hard.
Yeah, it was
So
like a heavy weight on your heart,
yeah,
definitely.
so I think that in honor of him and also my love of psychology, I'd be going into either psychology or neuroscience.
Yeah, and that's definitely what this podcast is going to be all about. Guys, we are going to be talking about heavy topics like that from further on. We definitely will be talking about mental health and talking about things that a lot of people don't bring awareness to, things that might be uncomfortable for some people. We will definitely be talking about more subjects like schizophrenia and other mental illnesses, if you'd like to say illness. I don't personally prefer to use that word, but you guys understand.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be your perfect school. Is there anything else in terms of dorming? Because you don't want to stay anywhere nearby. So is there
No.
any dorming preferences you have?
I think that, well, I think living in an area that's either a good long drive that takes a day or by flight would be preference, just because I will say it's very nice to have grown up in New York, but I haven't really fully.
Explored.
Yeah, I love to travel. That is one of my absolute favorite things to do, because you meet people that
Oh
are
yeah.
are completely different backgrounds. Like in New York, we have very similar mindsets. It's just like if there's something that we can all like relate to with each other, no matter what it is, since we're in
Yeah.
the same state and or the same region. But I had this great experience a little while back where I met people from all over the state, and it's not just the lower areas; it's the farm people, the Rochester people that kind of have the Canuck
Yeah.
accent a little bit.
The city people too.
Yeah,
It's all
city
very
people.
different.
And then the Islanders, which not a big fan of the Islanders, but
Uh-oh.
yeah. Um, yeah, I'd say it's somewhere remotely far from here.
far,
Yeah.
far, far.
And then I will say a good school has very many clubs and programs that kind of give back.
Yes, definitely.
So
Something that you can actually enjoy besides just studying there, like actually having a home
Yeah.
where you go to school, is definitely super important.
I will say that was like one of the big selling points of Tulane. They said that there is many community service programs, and they actually require you to do 2 different types of community service prior to graduating. One of them being um, like a study kind of thing, so whatever is intended with your major, and then the other being extracurricular, like whatever you do with your club.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you liked that school. I definitely thought that you would like it, especially since it's so far.
Yeah.
So, guys, we will be taking a little break and we'll be right back, okay? All right.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, from the break. I hope it wasn't too long. So
2 whole minutes.
yeah, 2 whole minutes of ads. Yeah, so we're going to jump right back into college talk somewhat. So, Elena, what are you interested in studying?
So, I am interested in studying education, more specifically elementary education, so usually around grades 1 through 6. I'm not really looking forward into teaching anything in terms of middle school or high school. Those are definitely not my grade range that I prefer. But I started to look into education after I did a school musical, which your sister was in, your lovely, lovely sister. She was. That's where I was inspired of basically my dream. Honestly, there's nothing else I'd rather do. I'm not necessarily sure if I will be just a regular elementary school teacher or if I'll do something different. Like I was looking into maybe educational and guidance counseling, all that sort of range, but definitely in terms of majors, generally education. In terms of school, I do want to stay in the state. So, very different than what you're looking forward to, but I am pretty close with my family, so I do want to still dorm somewhere relatively away,
Yeah.
but still in the state. I'm currently looking at having an early decision to SUNY New Paltz. I've visited once and I will visit again in December. I'm super, super excited, but they do have the major I like. They're in a perfect area, small, cute little town and everything. So that is my dream. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Nice. So, besides the play that you were involved in, were there any cues to you being interested in education prior?
I guess I had always thought about it when I was little, the idea of being with kids, because I do like helping people and I do like tutoring people or helping them with studies, but it was never a passion. It was just an idea. It was like, oh, yeah, I'm good at this, but I wouldn't consider it as a career. But when I did do the musical, it was definitely a big step for me. Additionally, my job isn't necessarily teaching people, but it does have areas that I have to teach people. I teach people how to paint pottery, and it's something that nobody really is interested in or knows how to do because they don't really teach you that in school or anything. So every time someone comes in for the first time, I do have to teach them that whole process.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of kids coming in and painting definitely lovely masterpieces. So every time that I have to teach a class or I have to teach a camp or a party, any sort of thing like that, and it's a lot of younger kids, I do absolutely love it. And this is just my job now. There's so many more opportunities that are linked to that. So that's what definitely made me actually passionate rather than just having a small idea in the back of my head.
Were there any other majors or ideas that you wanted to pursue?
I also did think about psychology for a while because I was struggling with my mental health for a very long time, and I figured I wanted other people to get help from someone and not feel ashamed of what they were feeling or not feel like it was a burden on other people. So I
Yeah.
did think about counseling. I did think about becoming a therapist, but I also realized that in terms of my own life, I need to prioritize my mental health. I'm still going to care for other people, still my friends and family, but I needed to find a career that made me happy and not something that would make me sad because, if you're being a therapist towards someone in terms of an actual career, not just a friend,
Yeah.
there's a lot of deeper topics than what a friend is telling you in high school, that there's a little bit of drama. There's a lot of like substance abuse problems and family abuse problems, and I didn't want that to affect my personal life outside of work.
Of
So
course.
I didn't start to look into psychology because I was like, I need to find something that makes me happy to go to work every day instead of being like, I need to prepare myself to expect a lot.
Yeah. It is. Psychology is a very mentally taxing field, and oftentimes that gets overlooked from the therapist or
Yes.
the person who's working's point of view. You deal with a lot, and I think that um, while it is a wonderful thing, it's not for everybody, and I am very glad that you found your niche because it is education is one of the things that can really make or break a kid's journey through school. So
Yeah, and adulthood, honestly. Kids are the next adults, the next generation, and it's so important to teach them, manners, respect, not to do everything online, and to have a
yeah,
life outside of that and explore the outdoors and be friendly to other people. So I definitely considered education as number one. I don't want to do anything else anymore because psychology was just a little bit too overwhelming for me.
yeah,
And of course, if anyone ever needs anything from me, I am more than welcome to help them. That goes for anyone, friends or people that I don't even know. But in terms of a career, there's so much more than just small high school trauma, small high school problems. And I needed something that just made
fulfilled
me
you.
excited. Yeah, exactly. You get it.
I do. I actually had a little struggle with that, which I didn't know what to do going into like freshman year, sophomore year. I think that I bounced around with many ideas, but I think that finding my niche was the struggle of my high school years. Finding my niche and my work ethic, but that'll be touched on later. I do have very many interests. Like I've always had an interest with what would be associated as like the communications realm.
Yeah.
Obviously, I love this. I love making stuff. I think that it's a very good artistic passion that I have,
Yes.
but um, it was very taxing, and it did not very much result in like it fulfilled me in a way, but not in a way of this is how I'm going to change the world, which I think that's what you're looking to do with teaching. You want to better the next generation, is what
Yeah.
it seems.
And like how you have your communications hobby and media and tech and all that stuff, that's sort of how I'm with art. So people who know me outside of this, I absolutely love music. I love drawing. I created my picture for Into the Mystic and
Mhm.
also for my other podcast, For the Record. So I definitely do love art as a hobby and especially music. But I was always told as a kid to pursue that. But I was like, well, what would I have to do outside of my work? What would I have to do that's not my job, like to keep me entertained and for fun when I need to relax?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have art because that's what I would be doing every single day. So I was like, well, I need to find something else that isn't what I'm just getting paid for. It's something that I like to do in my free time.
Yeah. I get that 100%. I mean, that is a very good thing, a very good lesson that I learned in high school, differentiating work and hobbies, because when those two mesh, it can be good, but oftentimes it can leave people very overwhelmed, very unloving of what they used to love.
Yeah, it
Um,
changes your perspective on it entirely.
yeah. You don't want to do something that you love and have it feel like you're doing it for a job, at least in my perspective. Um, but yeah, so I think that education was the right way to go for you. How did you come across New Paltz? Just to spin
Well,
back.
I do have family that is close to New Paltz. They're not in the actual town, but they are about half an hour away. And so I figured that was a good area, that it's still an hour and a half away from Austining. So I'd be living somewhere else, but I'd also be close to the family I never used to see as a kid because an hour away from here as a kid seemed like forever. Like we were never going up there. It was like just for
Yeah.
the holidays, just for a birthday. And so to actually be over there in school and just be a few minutes away is super important to me. I have a cousin who's 6 weeks old and a cousin who's 10 months old. And so they're still little babies. And by the time that I'm in college, they'll be growing up. And I want them to actually learn about me and get to see me all the time rather than just the holidays. Because when I was a kid and my cousins were older, they never got to see me. They were in college and they were far away and I was in Austining. So
Yeah.
I wanted to be that person who was there for my little cousins and actually gets to see them and see my family, but also be in somewhere new, somewhere I've never been, not in Austining or
Mhm.
Purchase or Pace, something that's like right next door, something that's a little bit further, but still in the state.
Yeah. That's good. Sadly, we are short on time, so we're gonna have to wrap this thing up. This was the first episode of Into the Mystic, and before we go, we just have one little line that we want to say. We want to let people know that if they're struggling with anything mentally, in any way, we are a show that is dedicated to helping those people out. So if they'd like to come and talk, either on air or off air, to us or anybody, frankly, with any experience or not in helping, we think that you should do that because someone to listen to is someone to help.
Yes, we're both available for literally anyone, whether you're an undergraduate or you're in our grade. You guys can find us or contact us whenever you'd like. We're available for anyone. Me and Kevin have both had issues with mental health in the past. And so we definitely are someone that has experienced that. You're not talking to nobody, and we will definitely help you out. So thank you so much for listening to O Radio. We put the O in radio. Make sure to follow us on social media at O Radio OHS on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Have a good rest of your week, you guys.
Take care, OHS.